Can Chinese luxury cars surpass Tesla and Porsche? While Detroit is still debating the fate of gasoline engines and California is tangled in electric vehicle subsidy policies, when Ford is struggling to cut costs, General Motors is negotiating every dollar for its electrification plans, and Tesla reports a 71% profit drop. Elsewhere, a city once known only for its gray concrete walls is erecting technology towers, faster, fiercer, and more ambitious than anywhere else on Earth. Their cars don't just run on electricity. They are powered by something else, the speed of innovation, the speed of a nation no longer content with catching up but aspiring to lead. You might not know the name of that new car. You might have never heard of that brand. But when it appeared right in the center of the 2025 Shanghai Auto Show, it made the Western giants shudder. Because it's not just a new car, it's a sign that the game has changed, and the leader now doesn't speak English. Join Top 10 Discoveries Official as we trace the footprints, redrawing the global automotive industry's power map. If you still think of China as a country copying technology, it might be time to reconsider. Because the name BYD, short for Build Your Dreams, is now not only building its own dreams, but also quietly reconstructing the world order. From its early days of producing cheap phone batteries, BYD has silently climbed each step, each link in the global supply chain. While the rest of the world was still debating whether to go electric, BYD had already secured over 60% of the global LFP battery market. They operate hundreds of factories, hundreds of thousands of employees, controlling everything from raw materials to the final product. And their ambition is no longer hidden, to dominate not only the electric vehicle industry, but also the entire technological ecosystem around it. In 2024, BYD sold 4.27 million vehicles, far surpassing Tesla, more than double its sales. Their revenue reached $107 billion, a figure comparable to the GDP of a small country. Growth rate? Over 29% in just 1 year. While competitors are still running, BYD has soared. But their ambition doesn't stop at mass-market electric vehicles. Silently, they have set their sights on the high-end segment, where for decades, names like Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, and Tesla Model S have reigned supreme. That's the realm of speed, technology, and Western industrial pride. And that's when Denza Z appeared. Denza is not an unfamiliar name to those following the Chinese electric vehicle industry. Established in 2010 as a joint venture between BYD and Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz. Denza was once a symbol of East-West cooperation, but by 2024, when BYD completed the acquisition of all shares from Mercedes-Benz, Denza officially became a wholly owned Chinese brand. From then on, it was reshaped into a premium product line, focusing on the segment once the exclusive playground of names like BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz. Denza now boasts a diverse product portfolio with models like the D9, a 7-seater MPV, N7, N9, electric SUVs, and Z9/Z9 GT, premium sedan and station wagon. The Denza N9 starts at around 389,800 RMB, approximately $53,453, nearly 3 times the price of the average BYD Song Plus SUV, about $18,500, showing a clear distinction in target segments. Particularly, Denza is accelerating its entry into the European market, where the Z9 GT just debuted at the 2025 Milan Design Week, with the ambition to directly challenge the German giants. In this context, the appearance of Denza Z is not just a new product, it's a strategic declaration. BYD doesn't just make mass-market electric cars, they are ready to threaten the luxury sports car segment, where Europe has almost absolute dominance. Debuting at the 2025 Shanghai Auto Show, Denza Z is introduced as a concept electric sports car with the silhouette of a low, powerful, and aerodynamic 4-seater coupe. Based on BYD's E3 platform, also used for the Z9, Z9 GT, and N9 models, Denza Z features a tri-motor powertrain, 1 front and 2 rear motors. This setup allows optimal torque control, delivering exceptional acceleration and high stability when cornering. Denza Z can charge 400 kilometers in just 5 minutes, a feat that even Tesla's latest superchargers can't match. On Denza Z, the autonomous driving system called God's Eye operates so smoothly that it no longer just assists the driver. It completely replaces them in many complex real-world situations. One of the most impressive technological highlights of Denza Z is the DiSus-M suspension system, an advanced electronic suspension using magneto-rheological technology. With a response time of under 10 milliseconds combined with an active terrain scanning system, DiSus-M allows Denza Z to adjust the suspension's stiffness in real time, providing both a sporty and comfortable ride under various terrain conditions. Additionally, Denza Z is equipped with steer-by-wire technology, completely eliminating the traditional mechanical link between the steering wheel and the wheels. This not only reduces the overall weight, but also opens up possibilities for innovative steering wheel designs, a detail that enhances both safety and cabin design innovation. Aesthetically, Denza Z is built on the pure emotion philosophy, prioritizing aerodynamic efficiency. The large rear spoiler, low stance, sleek body, all aim to maximize downforce at high speeds. The interior is designed to focus entirely on the driver, compact, minimalist, yet full of the latest modern technologies. Although Denza Z is still in the concept phase, initial technical information suggests this model could achieve over 1,000 horsepower, based on a tri-motor configuration similar to the Z9 GT. If confirmed in the production version, Denza Z will become one of the world's most powerful electric coupes. According to plans, Denza Z will launch its production version in the Chinese market before the end of 2025 and expand to international markets, especially Europe, in 2026. This strategy aligns perfectly with BYD's direction, using Denza to conquer premium markets, even when facing EU tariff barriers. The emergence of Denza Z also reflects how BYD is redefining the electric vehicle industry. No longer a game of cheap mass-market SUVs, but a full-scale race, from mass market to premium, from domestic to global, from battery technology to control software. Looking at the impressive figures BYD and Denza have achieved, from selling over 4.2 million vehicles in 2024 to a 60% sales increase in Q1 2025, with over 1 million new energy vehicles sold, one thing becomes clear. Shanghai, Shenzhen, and China's tech cities are no longer just manufacturing hubs. The car doesn't borrow design language from Europe, nor does it rely on old performance benchmarks. It stands there, simple, modern, sophisticated, as if it itself is a new definition for 21st century electric sports cars. To understand Denza Z, one can't just look at the design or technology. Behind a concept car is a massive investment flow, not just from a company, but from an entire economy redefining its role in the new world. In 2024, BYD spent 54.2 billion RMB on research and development, R&D, about $7.5 billion. A shocking figure considering it far exceeds the company's net profit in the same period. Over 14 years from 2011 to 2024, BYD's total R&D spending surpassed 180 billion RMB, 13 times its actual profit. An extremely rare investment ratio even in the Western tech world, showing BYD is willing to trade short-term profits for long-term dominance. From those massive investments, cutting-edge technologies have emerged. The E3 platform for tri-motor powertrains, the ultra-fast DiSus-M electronic suspension, the world's first steer-by-wire technology with a collapsible steering wheel. These technologies don't just exist on paper, they are directly integrated into Denza Z, turning this model into a technological symbol, a silent declaration of the technical prowess BYD has achieved. But BYD doesn't just invest in technology, they also invest in global deployment capabilities. With plans to build large-scale factories in Hungary and Turkey, with an expected capacity of up to 500,000 vehicles per year, BYD is creating strategic launch pads for Denza Z and other premium products to enter the European market, the heart of the traditional automotive industry. Not stopping at showrooms, Denza has appeared at iconic events like the 2025 Milan Design Week, A move showing ambitions not just in technology, but also in culture and brand image. In the global picture, in 2024, BYD sold 4.27 million vehicles, a 41% increase from the previous year. Although Denza only accounts for about 3% of total sales, its presence in the premium segment, where brand value and profit margins are extremely high, shows BYD's long-term vision, not just capturing volume, but also capturing position and power in the 21st century mobility industry. What's most noteworthy is that this investment isn't a single company's isolated action. It reflects China's overall strategy, pushing domestic tech giants not just to go global, but to seize the highest-end segments, once monopolized by the US, Germany, and Japan for the past century. In every technology integrated into Denza Z, in every factory rising in Europe, in every massive R&D budget approved without regard for short-term profit, we can see this is a carefully prepared battlefield with a long-term strategy with national-level determination. Denza Z, with everything poured into it, isn't just a concept sports car. It's a spearhead, a declaration. China wants to stand shoulder to shoulder and possibly surpass the West. On the surface, Denza Z is just a concept electric sports car, born to diversify BYD's premium product portfolio. But in reality, it's a chess piece in the most intense geopolitical game of the 21st century, the battle for dominance in the global transportation industry. For long, the automotive industry has been more than just economics. It's power. The US once used its automotive strength to build the foundation for post-WW2 economic dominance. Germany used its car brands to restore its post-war status. Japan used automobiles to expand its global influence in the 1980s. And now China is using electric vehicles, the new language of the mobility industry, to reclaim its central position on the global power map. That's why when BYD, with models like Denza Z, advances into the premium segment, the US and Europe can't sit still. Previously, the US government imposed 100% tariffs on all Chinese electric vehicle imports in an effort to prevent the wave of cheap and premium electric vehicles from flooding the domestic market. An unprecedentedly harsh move, reflecting a real fear. If left unchecked, China will dominate the entire future electric vehicle value chain. In Europe, where brands like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi are facing intense competitive pressure, the European Commission has also opened an investigation into illegal subsidies for Chinese electric vehicles and is preparing new punitive tariffs. However, even as tariff barriers are erected, the stark reality is no country, not even the US or EU, can immediately replace China in the battery supply chain, electronic components, and critical materials for electric vehicles. And while Washington and Brussels are drafting defensive measures, BYD has quietly made another strategic move. They opened a factory in Mexico, right on the US border, to bypass tariffs. They announced production plans in Hungary, right in the heart of Europe. They expanded their presence strongly in South America, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, regions the US and West once overlooked. Denza Z in that picture isn't just a premium electric coupe. It's a symbol of how China is shifting the chessboard. No need for direct confrontation, no need for loud declarations. Just persistently build real power, technology, manufacturing, supply chain. And when the time is right, simply put the product on the table and let the market decide. And the biggest question is no longer, will Chinese electric vehicles succeed in the West? But how much time does the West have left to hold on to what they've been proud of? If Denza Z were just a newly launched sports car, Washington might not need to care. But in reality, Denza Z is the tip of the iceberg, a signal that China's electric vehicle industry has entered a completely new phase, not just mass production, but challenging at the level of quality, technology, and global brand positioning. The first thing the US needs to worry about is the speed of technological innovation. While American automakers like Ford and GM are still struggling to optimize electric vehicle production costs, and Tesla is grappling with perfecting its FSD autonomous system, BYD has launched a series of breakthroughs. The E3 tri-motor platform, the DiSus-M suspension with under 10 millisecond response time, steer-by-wire technology, and all are not distant concepts, but already tested in reality on models like Denza Z. The technological gap is no longer in future promises, it's being realized right now. Second, the US is falling behind in the supply chain battle. Despite domestic reindustrialization efforts, currently over 75% of lithium iron phosphate, LFP battery sources, widely used in new generation electric vehicles, are still in the hands of Chinese companies like KATL and BYD. Similarly, critical materials like cobalt, nickel, rare earths are mostly controlled or sourced by China. Even with 100% tariffs, the US still faces the reality that to develop electric vehicles, they still depend on materials China absolutely controls. Third, the battle is no longer just about products. It has become an ecosystem war. When BYD aggressively builds factories in Hungary, Turkey, Mexico, and when Denza Z and other premium models start appearing at Milan Design Week, Paris Motor Show, or showrooms in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Latin America, the question is no longer, are Chinese cars cheaper, but which standards will dominate the future? Once technologies like 5-minute ultra-fast charging, steer-by-wire, and Chinese smart car connectivity standards are widely accepted by the market, the West will be forced to follow standards they no longer have the power to set. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, is the shift in perception. Throughout the 20th century, the US wrote the industrial narratives, from cars, airplanes, computers to the internet. But with the rise of products like Denza Z, more beautiful, faster, more innovative, that narrative is changing hands. A new generation of consumers in Asia, South America, Africa, even Eastern Europe will grow up with Chinese brands like BYD, Denza, NIO as the new benchmarks. And once the narrative changes, power will follow. That's why what's happening isn't just a single trade war. It's a race for leadership in the global tech economy. A race where if the US doesn't quickly change strategies, it might, for the first time in modern history, be left behind on the very tech playground it once pioneered. When history shifts, it never announces with loud noises. It comes in seemingly ordinary moments, like a new sports car debuting at a Shanghai auto show. But behind the glamour of Denza Z, behind every massive investment figure of BYD, are clear signs of a profound change. China is no longer playing the role of the world's cheap manufacturer. They are gradually becoming the ones redefining global standards. From battery technology, control software, to the way a sports electric car is designed and built. Things once the exclusive domain of the West. Can America and Europe reignite the creativity that once shaped the world? Or will they ride waves of innovation rolling in from the East? This isn't just a story about a car or a company. It's about the future of tech leadership and who's fast enough, bold enough to seize it. What do you think? Who will steer the global auto industry's future? Can the West flip the script, or has China already dealt the winning hand? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget, if you want to keep up with in-depth analyses of the big changes quietly happening in the world, follow Top 10 Discoveries Official to not miss any expert analysis on mega projects, breakthrough technologies, and the geopolitical race silently changing the world.